Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Najjat Baharudin and I am from 4th year LLB. I will be talking on the issue of whether the Malaysian bar is free from political influence and the importance of being an independent bar. Prime Minister Tun Abdul Razak hailed the lawyers to participate in the inaugural Malaysian Law Conference as men and women dedicated to the cause of justice who are in the best position to work for a more just and more equal society, and the urge to rededicate yourself to the rule of law and find new realms in your profession, both in upholding the constitution and in promoting greater social justice. So we are going to start with what is actually Malaysian bar. According to section 41 subsection 1 of the LPA 1976, the Malaysian bar shall be a body corporate with a perpetual succession and a common seal, and with a power subject to this act to sue and be sued in its corporate name, and to acquire and dispose of property both movable and immovable, and to do and to perform such other acts as body corporate may by law perform. Okay, so we are going to discuss what is actually politics. Politics arises by the nature of human. The aim and the existence of it is to promote the foundation to a good life and a freedom. It is undeniable how politics have a chokehold on every person's life. Politics have the power to shift the balance between the government and the citizen. For example, the enhancement and improvement of administration of justice in the state is a political cause. Moving on to the expectation of it is that Malaysian bar should be free from the politics. According to Article 1 to 7 of the Federal Constitution, Malaysia values the separation of power between the executive, legislative and judiciary. The state government in Malaysia also have their respective executive and legislative bodies. Malaysian bar shall not be influenced by politics on the ground of it is their duty and principle of independence of the judiciary from any encroachment of any partisan interest. Considering that there is a check and balance system, politics shall not have a say on any matters relating to judiciary. For example, the government shall guard the public interest regardless of anything. The power and integrity that behold is important to practice the Constitution of Malaysia, and shall not be influenced by any political movement or motivation to the Malaysian bar. The rule of law shall be imposed in upholding the integrity of the basic democratic nation. The Malaysian bar shall resist any notion to drag legal institution for any political fray and might be used for political purpose. According to Section 42 of the Legal Profession Act, the purpose of the Malaysian bar shall be to uphold the cause of justice without regard to its own interests or that of its member, uninfluenced by fear of favour. So it is safe to say that the protection of the public has become the duty for the bar, as they cannot fail or neglect the statutory obligation that was set upon them. The harsh reality of the relation between Malaysian bar and politics are no one should pretend that the bar or its member are actually immune from the effects of the politic. The bar has throughout its history, whether by accident or deliberately, fighting cases which are said to be political. For example, the 1988 judicial crisis. The 1988 Malaysian constitutional crisis, which is also known as the judicial crisis, was a series of events that began with United Malays National Organisation, which is UMNO, party election in 1987, and ended with the suspension and eventually the removal of the Lord President of the Supreme Court, which is Tun Saleh Abbas, from his seat. This can be seen that the interference cannot be avoided, as it is a matter that involves the Malaysian bar and the government. Previously, there was an issuance of a proposal to make the Attorney General as the head of the independent of the Bar Council. The issue were protested harshly, as the action would lead to the government to have an effective control over the institution that has been long defender of human rights and the rule of law. So it would certainly threaten the independence of the country's legal profession. It was said that the bar shall be free to choose its own leader and act without government interference. Thus, it can be seen that the government has been trying to set up the bar to be under government, and it has been done many times. Yet, the Malaysian bar still exercise their rights within their power. For example, the Malaysian bar has urged the government for the anti-hopping legislation that will restrict from hopping from one party to another during the election. The Malaysian bar called upon the government and member of the parliament to resolve the issue to uphold the democracy and morality during the practice. The issue is the politics culture in Malaysia are more towards the party or the personality of the leader itself, and the political parties in Malaysia tend to ignore the substantive issue in Malaysia. They forgot the existence of their duty to enhance the improvement of a person's life. The issue arises when the politics are to be blamed, meanwhile those in the politics and the culture itself are unhealthy to uphold the rule of law. Moving on to the next point, which is the importance of BAR as an independent corporation. The BAR has been in international standard for the independence of the lawyer to be protected. So according to the United Nations Human Rights Council affirmed in 2015, an independent legal profession is among the essential prerequisite for the protection of human rights, the rule of law, good governance, and democracy, and for ensuring that there is no discrimination in the administration of justice. To enhance the better administration of justice in Malaysia, the Malaysian Bar acts as a body that upholds the people's interests more than the government. They are statutory duty that oblige them to put their own voice without being fear of the government. Under Section 42, Subsection A, Subsection 1, Para A. The previous law shall be read together with Section 42, Subsection 1, Para D and Para G, which provide that the bar to express its view on matters affecting legislation and the administration of practice of law in Malaysia, and also to protect and assist the public in all matters touching ancillary or incidental to the law. The Malaysian Bar also acts independently as it is to preserve the independence of the judiciary in promoting access to justice. These acts are within their rights and protected under constitutional right. So in conclusion, on certain note, it is supposed to be Malaysian Bar are free from the political influence in Malaysia, but it is also part of their statutory duty to uphold justice. And by upholding justice of the citizen, interference on what the government is doing wrong and not doing has become one of the duties of the Malaysian Bar. If vice versa, it is safe to say that as much as the politics trying to interfere with Malaysian Bar, the politics are being dismissed and ignored on the ground that it is part of the duty of the Malaysian Bar and power that they were set upon to stand as a sole practice. Constitutionally, the influence of the Bar by the politics are most unlikely to happen, as the Malaysian Bar stood strong in their belief as a Malaysian to continue to speak up on matters pertaining to law and public interest, uninfluenced and without fear or favor. I think that is